Google has launched a beta version of its new AI-powered search, which is called Search Generative Experience. So anyway, it is very interesting and aggressive, and I've spent a lot of time understanding how it works, or thinking I understand how it works. The one caveat that I want to preface is that we're not going to have 100% certainty about things unless this rolls out to the public. Right now, you have to still sign up for a waitlist to join the beta, and we'll have much more information about what the implications are once this has rolled out publicly and we see some actual traffic data. Whether it's traffic from SGE specifically, which we don't get right now, or not, right? It doesn't really matter. We're going to see a change in traffic because this stuff is aggressive. If you want to understand how big the impact is of SGE, or the potential impact of SGE on your website traffic, you can look at the traffic you get for featured snippets. You can look at the traffic you get for any types of questions, including how, when, who, why, what, and all the other question words. And you can look at the traffic you get from questions. And all these things are likely to not drive traffic anymore because Google gives a direct answer in search results. When you look for something like best mattresses, let's take best mattresses for back pain, we'll see that the sites that are linked to here in this carousel, when we corroborate them, they have different angles. And this is what I call an angle. This is a specific piece of information that other sites don't have that significantly contributes to the AI answer. The way to optimize for this carousel then is, we see them here. This is where Duraflex ranks. Some more websites, when we click through, it's only 4, but the way to get here is to figure out what are the angles that these sites cover, and basically optimizing for them in your content. We would look, okay, what's the exact text in the featured snippet, and what's the headline, and then you copy paste it into your content, but ideally you make the definition even better. And the same approach can be used for optimizing for AI answers, where you look at what does the corroboration show, what are the pieces of information, and how can I make that even better? How can I appeal to that question here, or to that angle, better said, and how can I give a much better answer? That's how to compete for this. So to summarize, in e-commerce, I think third-party reviews are going to become even more critical because Google holds unstructured data and structures it and gives these product attributes. The reviews also show up here in the thumbnail. Price will matter even more. The thumbnail in itself, the title, the description, all of these things are new levers to optimize. And then if you're one of the lucky sites that are being referenced up here, that is good, but we're not sure yet how many of those will actually get clicks. All right, that's it about e-commerce. I noticed, yeah, I'm gonna keep going here, but if you have questions, again, feel free to use the chat or unmute yourself and just shout it out. I'm gonna pause for coffee. All right. Oh, Chris, here we go.
I was just going to ask, in terms of the mobile experience, how does it look on mobile, or is it just a desktop experience currently?
Great question. I can't replicate it in the browser itself. I can only replicate it in the Google app on my phone. And it looks even more aggressive in the app. Google shows, so for example, sometimes, let's see if I can trigger this, but sometimes you get 2 rows of products, 2 rows with what, like 8 columns or something. And on mobile, you get just a 2x2. Yeah, here we go. On trend styles. So these are 2 rows. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so you can click to scroll through here. On mobile, much less real estate and much more real estate given to these type of answers. So yeah, even more aggressive. And organic results are pushed to the side even more. Oh, okay. Google doesn't show anything here. And that plays into another point that I wanted to make, which is really important. And that's about YMYL industries. I don't think that Google will provide a lot of answers to sensitive queries because YL industries like finance, legal, medical, they're regulated. And you're not allowed to give advice without a license. So I don't know if best corporate credit card counts as advice. That's where it's going to get fuzzy, but I expect Google to stay out of this because the SGE result looks a lot like advice. Let's see something like, I think one of the examples that was given in some official documentation was about, again, like medical advice. And one query that I looked at was if you can give baby Tylenol. So interesting, like now it doesn't show an SGE answer anymore, but I've seen it happen before a couple of times. And so this is another one of these queries where I think that Google is just going to stay the hell out of because it's too sensitive. And that means that for the first time ever, these YMYL spaces offer more SEO opportunity than e-commerce or other spaces, which is really interesting.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do something even more sensitive. Cancer symptoms, do breast cancer symptoms. Oh, okay. Google does give an SGE answer. Very ballsy. Again, I just don't see this rolling out live. I just don't. Like they say here it's best to talk to your medical expert, and they even say this does not constitute medical advice or diagnosis, but just because they say that, but doesn't make that true. Will they launch this? Regulators will be like, no, that's pretty clearly advice here. I have a suspicion Google's not going to roll this out for these types of queries. I might be wrong. We can also say something like best muscle building supplements. Much less YMYL. It's still in the medical space, but it's not threatening your life. You can eat protein powder for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you're going to be fine. I expect that. I can see that rolling out much more. But anything about highly sensitive medical conditions, legal advice, financial, let's try something in the legal space. Can you change a trust without a lawyer? Yeah, they also do an answer here. Now, this here does not do advice, but just because you say that, is that true? I don't know. I have my suspicion trigger. But what I do get is our perspectives. Let's try a different one. Who is the best SEO in the world? Perspectives. Boom. That I didn't get in on desktop yet, but this is really interesting. So Google pulls answers here from Reddit, Quora, YouTube, sometimes other forums. And I personally am really excited about this. I really hope users will click this and will be interested, and that Google keeps pushing perspectives also in the regular organic search results, because I think it is an opportunity, not just for creators to get a lot of traffic, but also then for companies to work directly with creators and sponsoring them or licensing them or whatever, and find a new channel to drive business. But I have really high hopes in this perspectives tab. The fun thing is, I don't think anybody spoke about this, but once you're in the perspectives tab, once you have this selected, you can look at any query and see what perspectives there are. So let's see if that works with corporate credit card. Yep, still perspectives, which when you just look at it by yourselves, like you see here, it doesn't trigger. You can't see it. So once you clicked it, once you selected it, it stays, and you can figure out what the perspectives are. But again, the question is, where will Google show, for which queries will Google show different perspectives? When we go back to the SEO example, let's see, and I unclick this, meaning I go back to regular search results. Oh, nice. SEO brand is one of the best SEOs in the world. That's nice. Let's see. I was hoping that Google would show, okay, so they show discussions and forums, which are then pulled into the perspectives tab as well, which is neat. And then you see some of these videos, which are also pulled in the perspectives tab. But what I want Google to do here is I want them to show perspectives in the search results. And they sometimes do that for organic search. I have seen it a couple of times. Anyway, sometimes Google will show perspectives in the regular search results. I really hope they keep doing that. I think it's a nice way to get traffic. And yeah, it depends on how Google pushes that. The other thing that I wanted to show are local search results. So let's go back to sushi. Luckily, I just had breakfast. Sushi Chicago. So again, the results here are not very different from the classic local pack that you see here. There's not a lot of value add. But the one thing that I found interesting, when you click on one of these restaurants, you get all these like Google reviews. And first of all, it's really bad news for Yelp and TripAdvisor and all the other platforms that are typically competing in these spaces. What do we have? Timeout, Eater, Perpetuation, TripAdvisor, Thrillist. Yeah, good luck competing against this. Not great. And then Google shows like all these photos that it has from its own platform. So they've been pushing really hard. Even so, you can see videos here, and they've been pushing their reviews really hard on their own platforms. Pretty tough that they filter images and videos by all sorts of keywords here, and it's just going to be really difficult to compete with. But where's the value add against these other search results here? I'm not sure yet. If I was Google and I had to save money, I would probably not roll it out for local search, but time will tell. It's a very immersive experience. And similar to e-commerce, I have a theory, which is that Google is using the opportunity of AI answers to roll out way more aggressive answers that they've been working on for a while. Like how they build a marketplace in e-commerce, and now they're the de facto source for local results. I think they're just using AI answers as a disguise to push these changes much faster. One principle that Google likes to use is this, what I call the boiling frog concept, where they roll out changes very slowly and very subtly, and you don't even realize that they're there. And I think this is an opportunity for them to jump forward and just roll this stuff out all at once. Yeah, if you want a spicy theory, spicy take, that's mine. And that's pretty much it. I have a couple of points about what to do about it and how you can minimize risk, if you will, about this thing rolling out. But I wanted to check in first and see if there are any questions first.
You mentioned that you thought the generative AI experience wasn't so well suited to local results. Why don't you feel it's so well suited? I think it's interesting because I think they look like they're quite well suited to local results. So good to hear your take.
Yeah, I think this is just a replication of what you already find down here. Right? If you look at the results, it's Juno Sushi, Sushi Suite, and Sushi San. And you have the same thing here. It's a complete replication. And so I wonder, where's the value add? Either the local pack then disappears, which I can totally see, but you don't need an AI answer to do this. It's really just a copy paste. And that's why I'm thinking in some cases, they just sell it as an AI answer, but actually they just try to dominate this space even more and capture more value.
Yeah, it is very much a replica for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive. Let's look at some other spicy things. Best GPU. Again, I mentioned that the editor-in-chief of Tom's Hardware, who ranks here at #1, he wrote this like super spicy take on, it's not that spicy actually, but it's like basically saying, look, we're all gonna die. If you roll this out, don't roll this out. It's not ready yet. And look at how much kind of word for word copying there is. It's really like, when you look at this module, for example, this snippet, these are buying criteria for GPUs. And they're just basically taken from these sites over here. And in some cases, the sites are they're not authoritative. So I don't know what Electronics Hub is. I have to check it out for myself. Doesn't look super authoritative, I would know. But yeah, the basic point is, hey, copy word for word, not very authoritative. What about us, basically, right? We take our reviews, where a human sat down and tried out the product for a long time, see here, and then you just show all of that upfront, and you basically need people to buy the product right away. Where's our piece of the pie? And Google has responded to some of these claims and articles, but it's a legit claim, and I wonder how Google will juggle that. The problem is that Google needs to keep the web ecosystem alive, at least somehow. Otherwise, who will create the content? I don't think that, even though I do think that AI content can get really good, and some parts already is really good, I also don't think that Google can just serve all the answers in itself, right? You still need humans to put the information together, to apply empathy, reading between the lines, and synthesizing information to a much better degree than AI can in order to build the foundation for all of this content. But so Google needs to make sure that publishers and other platforms still make money from all of this stuff. And finding the balance here is really tricky. I don't know how often you use ChatGPT. I use it daily, several times, and I get in part much better answers than Google. So I do think the threat is real. And that's why I think they're in a corner where they have to launch something in that direction, but at the same time, they can't just destroy the web ecosystem and use all of the content and give the answer straight away. So it's a tricky spot. I wouldn't want to be in Google's shoes right now. All right, couple things to wrap us up here if there are no other questions. What can you do? Again, a lot of this is, I don't want to say speculative, but there's so many unanswered questions that we will only get once this thing rolls out. But I'm working with lots of companies right now who are all asking the same questions. What is happening? How does it affect us? And what can we do about it? It's really these 3 questions. We just spoke about what's happening, and we spoke about how companies are going to be affected. So what can you do about it? I think investing in direct traffic is a really good idea. It's a safety net against anything that can happen. I'm not saying abandon organic traffic, but it's build safety legs. Ways to build good direct traffic, or a lot of direct traffic and brand traffic: great customer service, good onboarding experience, advertising, like really outstanding content.